That is flattering. Hell yeah. Oh, what's up, guys? Yo, what's up? Okay, it's my first time doing a live stream, so y'all got to be like, what's the word? Patient. Be patient with me, all right? Can you hear me good? How's it going? Hello, XYZJK. There you go. I see your comment. Like I said, this is first time, first trial, uh, how this goes. So, what's going on, guys? Just type in there if you have any questions whatsoever. I'm from Appalachian region. I never want to really dox myself, but I'm from Appalachia. I live like in the woods essentially. Uh, no, I know that's not saying a lot because that's virtually 11 states, or is that 13 states in America? It's either 11 or 13. I could be wrong though. But like I said, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. The title of this actually, I got laid off 2 hours ago. Like, I don't have a job right now. Literally 2 hours ago, I got laid off. Kind of came out of nowhere. So, yeah, I'm pretty much trying to figure out how I'm going to survive. How me and my kids and everything. I don't know. I 100%, we'll figure it out. But you know how that goes. Oh, country, America, United States. I used to be in the Army. I did 6 years in the National Guard. Um, I wasn't one of those reservists, though, if you know anything about like the part time stuff. I always volunteered and stuff like that. So, pretty much, You do your 2 days or your weekend drill, but it was typically 3 or 4 days. But I was always on orders doing like ammo turn-ins or CLS classes or uh, all kinds of extra duties and stuff. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate that. Like you got to have faith in the Lord. I mean, really, that's the biggest thing. I know, like I said, I got laid off, but we'll make it. There's always a way. You know what I'm saying? There is always a way. Pearl, ain't no way you real down there. Ain't no way you real down there. Come on now. Thank you, XYZ. Appreciate you. So, what are you guys doing right now? What's everybody out there doing? Speaking of, I know, she said Estonia. I'm getting a lot of subscribers from other countries, and I mean, that is awesome. But with the content on my channel, it's kind of, I don't know the word for it. It's not really, it's not useless. It's just, I was mainly, I mainly produce content for, Americans and stuff like that. But I guess in my future content, I'm going to really have to try to produce a more broad spectrum because I want to help the good guys no matter where they are. There's rebellions and stuff everywhere, like Syria and Turkey and stuff. And my whole channel is kind of around like warfare and stuff like that. I know that's a very niche topic, but like, there's good guys everywhere. You guys still in chat? It says I got one viewer. Who is it? Come on now. You guys still in chat or what? What's going on? Is it not scrolling? Come on now. Well, the one watcher, the one viewer, if you want, just go ahead and just type some stuff in there. It's whatever you want to do. What's happening? What's happening? Try to let this view count build back up before I start asking questions. But Curious to know like where everybody's watching from, hops in on this. It's been fluctuating. It go from like one viewer to like 50 to like one. I don't know. I don't even know. My service is probably so bad. Like there's probably not even. See, now it says zero, but I guarantee there's probably at least one person watching. So it's like, let's see if I can actually see. No, it won't let me see. What's going on? Come on. What's happening? If you have any questions about anything, just go ahead and drop it in the comments. What's up, guys? What's up? What's going on? It's here to chat, or if you have any questions about anything. I mean, even philosophy, whatever. It doesn't matter. How are you guys today? How are you doing? What's going on? What's happening? Bonjour, bonjour, bonsoir. Come on with it. Oh no, my bad. My bad. It's what? Bonjour, good morning. Bonjour, good day. Bonsoir, good evening. And then bon nuit is good night. There we go. What's going on? were going hot for a second there. We were going hot. I'm not sure 100% where everybody went. Hey, what's up? What's up? Yeah, I'm doing a live stream. 100%. I got laid off like 2 hours ago. I went into work and I worked 2 hours, and then work's been very slow. And yeah, straight up got laid off. So unemployed right now, trying to figure it out. So I'm sitting here. I'm reading a comic book, and you know, no, it's all right. It's all right. I'll figure it out. Man, I got videos uploaded till August, so that gives me time, like scheduled to come out till August. So that gives me time to just really sit back and like reevaluate things. I don't want to get into my wife's life either. You know, I'm married and stuff, but she works too. So I mean, we'll pay bills, but it's been tight as it is, if that makes sense. You know, but it's all right. But how's everybody in chat and stuff? How you doing? So it's kind of hated. It's kind of hated. No, I don't leave. Leave. I don't read Marvel. I read DC, but it's called Three Jokers. But it's written by Jeff Johns, and I love Jeff Johns' work. Like his Aquaman run, the New 52 Aquaman run, dude. If you haven't read it, you need to read it if you like comics. Anyway, it's the Three Jokers. I don't even know if I said that. I got into talking about Jeff Johns. It's the Three Jokers. Yeah. Do you read comics or anything? Yeah, man. I think it's a. I notice when I have a lot of caffeine, I'll say something like twice. I think it's like a form of ADD. I've never been tested for it. But when I start getting excited about stuff, it's like it's really hard for me to. It's not hard for me to process stuff. I over process it, and sometimes it gets jumbled. I really try to work on it, especially in the videos. I really try to. If you see like a bunch of jump cuts, that's why. But I try my best. I really do. I try to put out good information. You know what I'm saying? So you don't read DC or Marvel. The only other publisher I know really that's big is Image. Do you read Image, like Spawn, or what kind of comics you read? A said teacher, a said like a birds and the bees teacher, education, or is there something I'm missing? I mean, that could be an acronym that stands for a lot of stuff. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Okay, okay, yeah. Well, you said S, and I was like, well, you probably don't want to get banned or something. I know how YouTube can be and TikTok and stuff. Okay. Wow, that's awesome. You know, I mean, really, we need more people like that. You know, we need more people out there and doing that kind of work. I feel like we need more teachers in general, but it seems like the youth. Um, I don't know what grades you teach. I mean, I guess even college is affected by this. People's attention spans with like TikTok and everything is just going like down the drain. Even mine, I've noticed, is just slowly dwindled, and I feel like that is definitely for the worse. I think technology is not good. It's not good for the world. I shouldn't be able to text somebody in Africa and get a response in 5 seconds. That's just how it is. Um, I don't do it on the channel a lot. I do like to sit here and be philosophical about things and just think about stuff. And that's a big point I keep coming back to. I got some other points, but it's one of them things. I don't know if I just want to sit here and talk about it. It's nothing crazy, but it's like what, for example, on the surface, it seems like if you go back in time to like Rome, when Rome collapsed, and yes, they had all kinds of like sin and stuff involved with it. It was really overpopulation. And I feel like we're seeing that in cities like New York, LA, and Chicago. You got millions of people that live within 2 miles of each other. That's not healthy. I don't think that's how humans are naturally supposed to live. And then the natural human urge to want more and more and more, not only greed, but just take things farther and farther and farther, that leads to a completely different side of the political spectrum that you've seen back in like ancient times, like Rome and Greece and stuff. And if you look at all those civilizations, they completely collapse. So I'm not saying that big cities are a cancer, but they kind of are once you hit a certain point. Even with modern technology, we can sit here and say, well, society this and civilization that, but in reality, we're still the same cavemen we were thousands of years ago. I mean, that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but like, I don't think in a 2 mile radius there's supposed to be millions of people living together. Even 100,000 people just seems crazy. You know, I got a shooting range in my backyard. That's how I like to live. I'm in my shed right now. I can do or say anything I want, and I feel like people crave that, if that makes sense, that space. Yeah, I haven't been big on Image comics, but I'm not opposed to them. It's just I always like the DC heroes, and like movie wise, Marvel's pretty cool. But Image Comics, Spawn. I know Spawn because I like Todd McFarlane. He's pretty chill. So, what are some heroes from Image Comics? I mean, is there any other big names besides Spawn? Who is Judge Dredd? I watched the Judge Dredd Stallone movie from like 90. What is it? 1995. That was wild. That was a good movie, and that went back to my philosophy on big cities. Actually, it really explored that and like how far you can take that notion. I got to hold on. I see that makes sense because the whole like policing and everything in that, and the police being the judge, jury, and executioner. I mean, I get that. I seen a big like in at least in the old movie. I haven't seen the. I think it was 2014 or 2012 when the newer Dread movie came out. I noticed there's a big thing with like the poverty-stricken individuals, and they literally live on like the street level, and then you have like skyscrapers and different like offsets, and the city just goes like 100 miles up. I don't know. I seen that as kind of like a analogy, I guess you would call it, or a metaphor for what we're seeing now. Also, speaking of that, there's a crossover between Batman and Judge Dredd, like one of the comics, and I couldn't even get through it. The images, I don't know who the artist was, but it was like disgusting. I mean, it's a little bit much, a little grotesque. So if you're still here, do you teach high school, middle school, or like I know other countries call it like grade 8 or grade 6, or I'm not sure what Canada does. Compounding off that, I actually have like 30% of my subs are from Canada. So I mean, you know what my content is. That you live. I'm not going to say where you live, but through our emails and stuff, like it's really odd. I have an audience from Canada, and I also have an audience from Finland, which is I don't know. So the content's going to stay the same on that end, but I'm not sure how to approach it because you know me, I always put a disclaimer, like a legal disclaimer and stuff. But like the laws are different everywhere. I don't know what to do. That's crazy. Why are like 100 Canadians subscribed to me? It doesn't make any sense. Dark Horse Hillbilly. I'll check it out. I actually get on it right now. Try to check it out. I have a public library subscription, and it's connected through like an app. It's really cool, honestly. It's really cool. The Hoopla, or whatever, and you just go get a library card, and then at least in America, you enter your library number, and it's free. It's nice. Huh. Desire for a different point of view. Yeah, I see that. I do. I 100%. I understand what you're saying. Um, said it was hillbilly. I'm looking right now. I'm sorry. I'm getting sidetracked. It's one of them things which I understand the need for a different perspective. Um, but a lot of my videos are just like how to, you know what I do. I do like warfare and stuff. It's not just prepper things. And in Canada, you can't have any semi-automatic rifles. And like half my thing is preaching, hey, you need a semi-automatic platform. You need an AR. You need an AK. You need an AR-10 or SPR build, or you need this or that, or a PDW, or just something like that. And they can't have any of that equipment that I just mentioned. And I find it interesting, which I have other stuff and gear reviews and stuff, but like I talk about war. I train people for war. I mean, let's be honest. We can sprinkle it and we can put all the loophole words and stuff, but it's not illegal teaching or making the content I make. It's just it has a stigma around it. But I train people how to do war, and see, I'm treading right now because I don't want to say what I want to say because I have to, I have to do the loophole now. So hopefully you understand what I'm saying. I train people for war and how to fight and how to be a successful guerrilla force. Because at the end of the day, that is like one of the most important things, and that is someone's duty. Like if you are an American man, that is your duty to be able to fight in a war. If you don't, you have no balls. You shouldn't even like. I don't know. I have no respect for people that are not willing to fight, and that's what this channel is about. So it's like, how can I train people for war, the good people, without exposing myself to the bad people? Because I found out this morning that a lot of Russians, and I'm not saying Russians are bad, but I actually have a very small sliver watching from Russia. But who do I use in all my scenarios? And like, hey, Red Dawn happens and Russia invades. It seems like conflicting interests at that point. I don't want to teach them the tactics that I would use against them. Does that make sense? I don't want to be out here teaching people. Like, I wonder if there's a way I could just say, like, oh, if they're watching from Russia, they can't watch my videos. Or, oh, if they're watching from here. Or, like, if it's this certain, I don't know. I don't think you can do that. But hopefully I'm making sense. You know, that's what we talk about here. I don't jet around the bush. History, heck yeah, history is something that we need more of. And I apologize because I know there's an offset, so like this will get to you, and then I'll see your comment. I just seen that comment, so yeah, history definitely needs to be taught. You know, history always repeats itself, as people will say. Um, and it seems like you definitely typically lean more to one side than the other, but I mean that could just be biased on the religious spectrum and political spectrum and just how you think. Um, but everybody's different. Everybody has their own, you know, beliefs and stuff like that. But also, I've always heard, you know, history is written by the victors, and that does make sense. Humans are naturally greedy. Greed has pretty much destroyed this world, and it makes you think, like throughout history and in the books, how much in the military they call it pencil whipping. So, you know, you make it seem like you're doing a lot more than what you're doing, or you just pencil whip it in. You say, "Oh, that was there," and it wasn't. That's a very common term in the military for like if something pops up and there's a problem, you pencil whip it in, and then there's no problem on paper. And they do that a lot. So it's like, how much of that throughout history has there been? It's untelling. It's just wild. I don't even know how to describe it. The history that we know, even with like historical artifacts and stuff like that, could be completely different than what actually happened. I mean, like completely inverse of what happened after, especially after like, you know, before technology and before maybe even the American Revolution. Like everything back then, I don't see how we know what happened. Historical record and stuff matching up, but really, unless we have time travel, we can't go there and see it for ourselves. Hopefully, I'm making sense there. That's a big jump, but you know. But yeah, man, straight up, good luck on your PhD. I'm glad you're out there getting it in your education and stuff. Keep grinding. What's going on, people? What's going on? You hear that voice crack? You don't want to see the new digs? Is that what it is? I think that is the best answer you could have gave. I mean, like you said, you used the term historian, and that has a lot of weight to it, if that makes sense. Just trying to figure everything out and piecing it together like a puzzle. And I think that is the best that collectively us as humanity can do. But I'm glad you're doing it. You know, it sounds from us talking and stuff, it sounds like you have a decent head on your shoulders, a good head on your shoulders. And yeah, I mean, heck yeah, man, that's awesome, really. It's like a little honey badger build, if you were wondering. It's 300 blackout, 7.5-inch upper. I had it in a shooting video, but I have not went over the goods of it yet. And the main purpose was used for night vision on a budget. However, I am waiting for suppressors to be bye-bye off the NFA, but I guess that bill failed. So this is this is just my bedside gun for now. I got plates and kit, you know, got like 6 mags, 1 in it, and then I got, it's 300 blackout, so it's good stopping power at close range, 7.5-inch barrel, so you still get full powder burn with that cartridge. Yeah, I've decimated a lot of coyote with it, and I mean they just instant. I mean, I had one I shot at like 200 yards across the field. And with the 300 blackout, same 7.5-inch barrel and the Romeo 7S red dot, I smacked it in the shoulder. It went to turn and did like a roll, and it instantly died. I mean, it was wild. And I was using 115 grain Sierra rounds, so they're for boar and deer. But I mean, it just absolutely decimated it. It was wild. $33 light. So actually, the one on it, right now, I got a Streamlight cap. This is actually a Streamlight light. I have another upper that's a 10.5 that goes on the same lower, and that's a 5.56. So far, it's holding up good. In my videos, especially with electronics like lights and optics, I don't like to push anything out until it's been about 8 months or a year before I do a review. And there's a very specific reason why. And, well, here, story time. I'll try to make it quick, but this is a story time. This is Operation Poor Lore right here. About 4 to 5 years ago, there was a giant flood that came in my area. People's houses 3/4 of a mile down my road were underwater. Not the porch, I mean to the roof, underwater. Completely submerged underwater. The bridge, the main bridge that everybody uses, was underwater. And where it's nothing but hills and valleys, like there's hills in almost in every valley, especially if there's a big ditch or a big stream or river that ran through, it was flooded. Houses were underwater. I got off work. I was working night shift for a security gig. If you didn't know, I do private security still to this day, you know, whatever, different clients. And I go, you know, coming back from work, and then I go to turn on my road, and then it's just water. It's all underwater, and I'm like, oh, shit. So luckily, my wife and my kids spent the night with my mom, which lives in a different area, but still somewhat close. And I wanted to go see if my house was underwater, because obviously, you know, I needed to know. So I enlisted the help of my younger brother, and we went up on the ridgeline, and we hiked through the thick Appalachian bush with it pouring the rain, monsooning, for like 6.5, 7 miles. Now this, I was technically enlisted in the military then. This might have actually been 7 years ago. But I just got back from basic. I didn't even do my AIT yet. I didn't have a really strong foundation of what made a good rifle and such. So I was rocking like an American tactical AR to go through the bush, fight off the bears and coyotes to go see if my house was underwater. And I had a like Amazon like $30 Fiocchi or Fiocchi, however you say it, light. And I had a cheap red dot. I just had like a cheap $500 setup. And then back then, that was terrible. Polymer lower, all that. But I thought it was just as good. I was like, no, this ain't gonna fail me. So we hike in, it's pouring the rain and stuff. And I'm going and going and going. We get lost a little bit because we're way up on a ridge line. We're in backcountry I've never been before. I've never took that way. And It was mostly public land. I'm not gonna lie, we went through some private property, but holy shit, at that point, my house could have very well been underwater. I did not care. You know, we were like going through fences and shit, and we get like a mile and a quarter away from my house, right? And I don't know what kind of like brush or bushes or trees or whatever this was, but they were spaced about 6 inches apart, and they were like big stalks that came up. I mean, shot up. And somehow in that field or whatever those were, I still don't know what they were to this day. They might have been cherry trees. It all looked the same, no matter where we turned. And we got lost in that, and we were a mile and a quarter away. I didn't have any service on my phone. My phone was almost dead. We were about a mile and a quarter away of my house. You know, keep in mind, we're just seeing if it was underwater or not. And we got lost there for like 2 hours, way up on this ridge line with like these cherry tree things, or like stalks. And finally, there was a landmark. There's an old chimney. This is weird. It's an old chimney built up from rock. And it's just in the middle of the woods, and it's got moss growing on it. I might put it in a video, so if you watch one of my videos coming up, I might just throw a video of it. It's really weird. But it was from a cottage that was built in the 1800s. That's just, I mean, this thing's like 30 foot tall. And through the cherry trees or the stalks or whatever, I looked and I seen it. I seen the top of it because we were up on a cliff face. And I looked down and I seen it, and I was like, oh, I know where we are. So my house was okay. It wasn't underwater. It was about a quarter mile. The water stopped about a quarter mile down the road from my house. So my house was okay. But anyways, I didn't have no power, and it was going to get really cold that night. And I was like, well, we're going to hike back. We know the way. So on the way back, it was nighttime at that point. We packed some beans and, you know, some rice and stuff. We get up past the cherry stalks and stuff, and then sit down. There's a trail. Then we start hearing coyotes right over the next ridge line. I mean, it was like 6 or 7 of them howling. And where it was cold in the wintertime, I mean, you know how they are. They're looking for food. I guess they smelt the meat we had, the lunch meat and the beans or something, but they were coming our way. And we could hear them getting closer and closer and closer. And I was like, damn, man, we're going to have to go. We can't rest. So, you know, we sucked down like half a can of beans. I handed it to them, and then like we had some pears or something in the in another can as well. Put them in our bag, and then went down the trail. Well, while I was kind of scanning, because like I said, I wasn't as well versed in tactics and stuff at the time. While I was scanning for crackheads and coyotes on the way back, the cheap Amazon Light failed on me. I didn't have any backup or any extra batteries. Completely failed on me. It's pitch black outside. We had like a half moon that night, but it was cloudy because it was still raining. And then, once we finally made it to this little drop down, it was like a 20-foot cliff we had to rappel down to get back, and then to get back to my mom's house. I just tied my rifle, you know, cleared the chamber, tied my rifle, and then I was, you know, had it on the rope, just putting it down the cliff face. Well, it smacked the side of the cliff face, and the whole handguard went completely loose. Barely tapped it. Barely tapped the side of the cliff, and just completely, it wasn't like all the way off, the gas block was holding it on, but I mean, it affected the aiming and everything. You couldn't use your iron sight or anything, just completely knocked it out of battery. So, once it got down there, and then we rappelled down, and I grabbed it, and it was just sitting here doing this, I was like, man, you know, I have to do something. So that was a big part of why I made this channel. You know, I don't want people out there, as soon as it kicks off and it's for real, I don't want people getting killed because their gear is shit. Because, yeah, I mean, some budget brands and some stuff is just as good, but that's also why this is that whole story was because you asked that question. I'm not going to recommend that $33 light if I take it through that a couple times and then it dies. So I usually, with electronic reviews, I usually wait 8 months to a year because, yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed that. That's your own person. It was 3 viewers averaging that whole time. Hopefully you enjoyed that. That's a real story. That's a real story. I got a bunch of others, honestly, but I would love to sit here and like share stories like that, but like I said, I'm really big. I don't want my exact location being found. If you just start Googling floods a couple years ago and like, we had some other crazy stuff went down and you type that, two actual main events that went down that nobody thought. We had like we had a railroad incident. I'm trying to keep it as vague as possible. Please forgive me. We had a railroad incident, and there was poison gas in the air, and everybody talks about bugging in, but we had to bug out. Like the cops came to my door and said, "Hey, you got to leave. We're evacuating the area." And like the whole city, my whole city, or like town, I guess, or whatever, like the whole like shebang, that big area was like there was poison gas in the air, so we had to leave. And then there was another thing that happened, but I'm not going to talk about that. But like it's crazy the stuff that actually happens even in smaller towns. That just you always got to be ready. Like I said, I ain't trying to dox myself, and that's why I'll probably never put it on the main channel like that, because you know what's going on, Jonathan. Nothing too much. Got laid off about 3 hours ago now, so unemployed life, baby. Let's go. How you doing? Yeah, hopefully we can hit 1,000 subs. Um, that's my goal. Like once we hit that, anything after, I mean, whatever. But it's like once I hit 1,000, I'll be content. And it's not necessarily numbers. I don't really necessarily care about getting money from this. I just want to spread my message to like as many people as possible. I come with that as being humble, if that makes sense. Anything that'll fit my schedule at this point. I mean, it's like my wife works, and we got to work around that. You know, but anything that'll fit the schedule. I got a lot of experience in a lot of different fields. This past job was automotive electronics, so it was like we would take cluster sets and repair the circuit boards on like your PCM, your ECM, your ABS modules. We'd replace that. I mean, anything if it's got a wire going to it and it was on a car or a semi or something, we would fix it. But not getting too much into it. But essentially, the last couple of weeks we've had nothing coming in, and he just had to lay some people off. I mean, I can't blame him, but I wish I would have got a warning. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been there. I was there for like over a year, almost 2 years, right at like a little over a year and a half, and it's like he just kind of threw me to the side. I'm like, man, come on. I do good work. Come on. But he gave me skills. I can rewire and work on circuit boards now. I can diagnose capacitors, diodes, resistors. Um, I got a very base knowledge of data communication and like fiber optic, and that's the way of the future is fiber optic stuff. Um, in that year and a half or so span, I learned like immense knowledge into that, just doing it almost every day. And I know I can find work somewhere, is what I'm saying. Like, I have the skills. All I gotta do is bring a soldering iron to the interview and like rebuild like rebuild a part or something or like a computer in front of a dude, and he's gonna be like, yeah, you're hired. You know what I'm saying? I know I got work somewhere. I'll probably be making a lot more money too, honestly, going somewhere else. I do. I do private security on the side, so they call it a flex officer type deal. So like if they need somebody calls in, or they need me to go do this or this event, or like concert security, expo security, stuff like that, uh, I'll go and I'll do the event. I work really close with police, and honestly, that might be the next venture. You know, I've always low key wanted to be a cop, but it's one of them things like I want to be a small town cop. I don't want to be state level. I don't want to be federal. I want to be like that small town cop that you can call to handle business, but not a lot of politics. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that makes sense. That's kind of my dream. Small town cop. There we go. Hey, speaking of, take a seat. Boom, boom, boom. Right? Yeah, man. I'm one of those. If you want to be a firefighter, like a paramedic, EMT, or cop or whatever, I tell everybody, I'm like, you need to go do it, or at least try to do it, because it seems like all that is just shrinking by the day. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people just get, they get crap on them. Everybody talks crap about police now, even firefighters. I seen something last week about EMT getting shot, and I'm like, why would you even shoot a medic that's coming to help somebody? That makes no sense. It's ridiculous how the world is now. Yeah, park ranger would be cool, honestly. That'd be nice. Getting federal money most of the time. Getting federal money, they pay for your cabin. When I delivered for FedEx a couple years ago, I actually got to deliver to a park ranger, and we sat and talked. And I mean, they get all kinds of benefits, 20-year retirement. I mean, it's a good gig if you can get on with them. I did apply for the forestry department, fighting like wildfires and stuff. Because I did that when I was on the volunteer fire department for a long time. I would go to all kinds of wildfire calls. We didn't know where they were coming from, if it was arson, but I mean, like left and right for like a month straight. What's his name? Just a random guy on the internet going crazy over here. He's skeeving. Dog is skeeving. Hot shot jumper teams. What was that in relation to? Hot shot jumper teams. We talking about the EMT still? Speaking of EMT, I did look into the school, and at least in my state, it's only like 6 months. So to get your certification, I mean, that's not bad if you did want to do that. It costs like $5,000 though, so I mean, that's a. Oh yeah, fire. Okay, yep. I went, and in my state they have a rope tech certification, so like rope rescue, and I went and got that. And I'm not 100% sure if it expires. That could be something else. Essentially, you learn how to tie knots and rappel, and you see people get on the lifts and hang from the helicopter and all that crap. You get to do that. I mean, it was really cool. It was a really cool course and everything. I didn't get paid to do it, but I got to do it for free. So I mean, that was nice. I don't know if I could do scuba. I ain't gonna lie. Water trips me out. I'm not gonna lie. I almost drowned when I was real little, and ever since then, I mean, I'll get in water, but if there's a strong current and it's over my head, I mean, dog, you can have that. You know what I'm saying? But I hope you guys are having a great day. I will be right back. I'll leave you something to look at, though. Hold on. So there you go. I'll be right back. hopefully you enjoyed that view of the little honey badger. I'm putting a super safety in this hoe soon. Don't you think I'm not? All right. I didn't know you scuba dive. That's kind of cool. Yeah, it's a big thing, John. I want to stay close to home. That's a big reason. That's a big reason I didn't re-enlist in the military, because they could send me anywhere, and I really felt like that was kind of selfish of me to do that to my family. I'm not saying it's selfish for everybody, but there's a reason that military relationships don't work out. And I mean, you got to be there. You have to be there for your spouse physically. It's not going to work if you're not. It's just how people are. Just a random dude is wow. International license, dude. That is cool, man. I know it can get dangerous once you get to like a certain depth. Well, I mean, it's just dangerous in general, man. That is crazy. What's some cool things you guys have done? Because obviously, I mean, he's throwing out surprises. Anybody else a scuba diver in here? Come on. Anybody else? Was anybody else like police, military, do anything cool? I'd say probably, while I'm waiting for these answers to pop up, I'd say one of the coolest things I got to do. It was hosted by the feds. Oh gosh, the feds, but like the ATF and the FBI. But I was on counter drug operations, so I was attached to the state police. I wasn't state police. I was National Guard, but I got to work with the state police and assist them in essentially dope hunting. So we got to go through like these booby trap courses. And that's where I learned a lot of stuff I teach on this channel. Like, we'd go through the lanes and they'd have like trip wires and IEDs and all kinds of shit like set up. It was wild for real. It was like the coolest thing I did. I rappelled out of helicopters with them and like DEA agents too during that like couple months of orders. But 100%, that course was the coolest thing I ever did in the military. I ain't even gonna lie to you, because they, like I said, they had pressure plates, trip wires, fake IEDs. I mean, that was wild. And then in some lanes, you had like 10 lanes, and some of them, there'd be nothing. So you'd be like sitting here like with your rifle, like absolutely skibbing, like, oh, there's a rock, it's got to be a bomb, and like there wouldn't be anything on that lane. It was wild. That's why the Jody exists. Hell yeah. Seriously though, people wonder, why people cheat. They need that physical connection. I mean, people aren't hard to figure out. You go away and you don't see somebody, even if it's on FaceTime, you're not physically seeing them for like 6 months. They're gonna bang someone else. That's just how it is. And I mean, if you're fine with that, you're fine with that. But I mean, I have to throw that out there. That's how it is. Like I said before, way in the beginning, we're the same cavemen and women we were thousands of years ago. Nothing has changed, just technology. You know, thousands of years ago, if somebody left and you didn't see them for 6 months, you're banging someone else. That's just how it is. you know, just a random guy over here getting on his laptop. Heck yeah. Where'd that other dude go? I want to know what he did. Jonathan, what'd you do? You fought fire? I mean, dude, that's cool. I know I'm not a volunteer now. I'm trying to get back on the local department soon. I got a meeting next Friday with them. But now that I'm jobless, right? But going to wrecks and stuff, or like anytime those tones drop, we had an app. It was like Active Alert or something. You'd see that and have a description of what's going down. Dog, that is an adrenaline rush. You're like, oh shit, it's going down. Let's go. Let's go save some lives or something. It's crazy. Yeah, I'll probably end this in about 4 minutes. I'm just waiting to see, Jonathan, you still here, dog? Come on. I want to know what you did. Yeah, dog. Trenches of cod, man. Trenches of cod back in cod nom era. I'll be honest with you guys. I used to play video games a lot in high school, but I cannot sit down and play them now. I might play some Ready or Not, or I might hop on some VR, maybe a couple hours a month. But like, I don't know. I just can't get into it unless it's Batman Arkham, the Batman Arkham series. I can get into that, but that's mainly because I played it so much as a teen. It's more nostalgia. But I got like 100 games in my Steam, and I never play them. Literally never play them. I'm from I'm from the Appalachian region of the United States, so that encompasses it's like roughly 11, might be 13 states. I don't want to say exactly where I'm at, but I'm in the Appalachian region. All right, all right. I'm gonna sit here and sip on this because the chat. I'm seeing this like 5 minutes after you guys send it, so I'm just gonna sit here a minute, let it catch back up. I want to wait on Jonathan. He might have left. He might have left. That's right. The real question is, this is my first live ever. If I hit X, does it upload to the channel or is it privatized? That's the question. I don't know how it works because I know some people leave it up on their channel. I don't know. I don't know how that goes. All right, I'm gonna give him a couple more seconds. Perfect to boom. All right, I'll search it up. But guys, I reckon I'm gonna get off here. I was gonna wait for his response, but hey man, scuba diving's pretty cool, man. Honestly, I really don't think I'd have the heart or the balls to do that. That is crazy. Good on you, seriously. I might enlist you for some SEAL operations. How about that? Um, no, 100%. It was good doing this live and building community and stuff. And hold on, question. Easton, Pop Tart, Pop Tart. We sitting at an hour 5 minutes. I gotta stay here, Pop Tart. What's up, Pop Tart? Come on. Gone trucking. I really don't know what is it, Easton? I'm gonna Google it, but you can enlighten me as well. I feel like I should know that. That's a baseball bat company. I know that much. Yeah, it is a baseball bat company. But what is it? Not hat. I mean, dude, I am so confused. Right, I'm sorry. What's up, Pop Tart? I'm doing all right. Got laid off about 3 hours ago. Nice, nice. So you know how that is. How you doing, Pop Tart? Yeah, my dad was a truck driver for like, well, my stepdad was a truck driver for like 32 years. I've thought real hard about it. That's what I did in the military was drive trucks. So, okay. Not hat, I mean. Being that you're from that region, you just really want the first thing. What the term? You said Easton. E, Echo, Alpha, Sierra, Tango, Oscar, November. That's what you asked. I'm confused right now because you said, okay, here we go. So back in the day, they had military exercises in West Virginia and were practicing guerrilla warfare, and the designation for Appalachia and West Virginia was Easton as the communist occupied area. Huh. No, you're all right, man. You're all right. No, that was my bad. I didn't. I'd figure you're from West Virginia, but you talk about swamp. So I'm going to assume you probably. I've been in the swamp of Louisiana, but I mean, it's whatever. Yeah. No, that sounds awesome. I'd like to get up with those people and talk shop. Not train. That's illegal, apparently. Not train with them, but just talk shop. You know what I'm saying? That'd be crazy. CDL Class A. So the weird thing about that is I do have a military license. I even have a military license to this day, even though I got out 2 years ago. I can drive with night vision on those big ass trucks. However, the weird thing is when you transition to the civilian world, you still have to do the CDL class and all that, unless you can get from your commander, your company commander, you can get a specialized form and bring that to your courthouse. Then all you have to do is the written test. You don't have to do the driver's test. I never done that, so that's 100% on me. But honestly, driving, that's the only way to get money around here, from what I've seen, like decent money. So, man, I might even look into that because, like I said, I've drove through. About to dox myself. I almost said it. Almost said. You believe that? I've drove through like 7 or 8 states though, like with the military. You know, hundreds of miles trips. So yeah. Fort Bragg. Kind of from everywhere. No, I understand that. I understand that. I've been everywhere, man. Johnny Cash, right? That's the greats right there. Fort Bragg. Okay, look, listen, you gotta excuse me. It's been a couple years. Fort Bragg, North Carolina, right? Fort Hood is in Texas, right? Or am I switching those? Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Lots of SF and Green Berets there, right? Green Berets? Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Okay, Pop Tart, if you're a military brat, or okay, I'm not gonna ask your exact age. Are you like legally an adult yet? That's the question, I guess. I'm uh I'm throwing. Well, yeah, he has to be adult. He's a truck driver. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. You're in the space, aren't you? Oh yeah, grandmother. All right, yeah, yeah. No, you're in this space. Okay, that makes sense. You're military. Okay, so you're just interested in this kind of stuff. I got you. I got you. So you drive a truck, but you're a female? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that seems to be a stigma. And even when my dad was driving, that was a stigma. And it was like, I don't know why. I guess it's a scary thing. I'm not gonna lie. If I was a female, all the places, you know, my dad would deliver to like Detroit and Chicago and like the bad areas. There was a place in Ohio. It wasn't. It might have been Toledo. And he actually got stabbed one time. Someone broke in his truck and got stabbed. But I couldn't imagine, especially for a smaller frame female, like if that was me driving a truck and like going to those areas. Oh my gosh, that is terrifying. I hope you're strapped. I would stay strapped 24/7. Oh, oh, okay, okay. Wow. So what do you haul? If you don't mind me asking, because I know you can do like flatbed and then like sleeper cabs, which typically involve the refrigeration and all that. That's probably wrong terminology, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. Or you just take different loads everywhere. I know a lot of companies contract stuff out. Or do you just haul one specific thing? Like, are you always hauling? My dad used to haul, we called it the chicken truck because he would haul a trailer and it had a bunch of cuts, like little holes in it, and it would be full of chickens. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. Okay. Wow. That's crazy. So where are you based out of, if you don't mind me, or like what's the name of the company if you're on Google? Is it like a bigger company or is it, you know, Chicken Taxi? There we go. Yeah, he used to do purely flatbed stuff. And then he got to where, he was starting to get worse in health. So he switched to just the streamlines. And then he passed away of COVID, believe it or not, when that whole thing kicked off. I was really getting in the headspace. I ain't gonna lie. So this is a lesson for everybody, no matter the age. You really got to watch what you see online because I was really starting to believe like the crazy, like schizo stuff. Like, oh, it's not even real. It's not even real. This ain't real. And then my whole family got it, and my parents got it, and my dad died from it. And I was like, you know what? It's definitely real. Like you really have to watch what you intake in the internet. And of course, that was years ago. But it's like to see how easily manipulated I was. It was scary. Take everything you see with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Raleigh, North Carolina. Heck yeah. Well, I appreciate y'all for watching. I need to go in here with my wife and kids and stuff. All right. But thank you guys. Quick French lesson. Au revoir means goodbye. I'll be bientôt means see you soon. How about that? God bless y'all. You enjoy your day. Everybody, have a good time. Peace out. Yeah, it was a nice talk. Peace out.